So your values starter kit that you're leaving for the audience today has these questions, and people can actually start this exercise on their own. When you walk in and we're answering these questions, are we thinking about who we are, or who we should be, or who we would like to be? Because I think there's a very subtle difference.
There are absolutely subtle differences. And I would say one of the biggest mistakes that companies make is starting with looking at 20,000 words or 50 words or whatever, and seeing a word and thinking, oh, I would love it if we were that. Well, and let's say that is authentic for the sake of me pulling a word out. But the whole purpose of asking you questions about who you currently are and what makes you proud and where you currently stand is to find out who you are today, because that's really where the heart of value starts. You have to start with who you already are. If you skip that step and jump straight to who you want to be, you're not defining your culture. You're creating this wish list, right? So you are defining an ideal state that doesn't really match the reality of your current day-to-day culture. And the team that's there will see right through it. And already we have lost people. So the most powerful values are already living inside of the company. And our job, or my job in that room, is to help you uncover them first before we start to identify particular words.
Right. What if I have never got my values sorted out, and to be honest, the culture in the company is not great. Okay. And the people in the room are sat there, with their arms folded. They don't really want to be there because they don't believe in the culture of the company. And in their head, they're thinking, this company is dishonest. It's unreliable. It's, and a set of values that are pretty negative and you don't want to be. And naturally, you want to be. If I pick, I think honesty is a terrible example, but we'll work with it for now. If all of my team is sitting there thinking this is a dishonest company, but we put honesty up as a value, there's clearly a mismatch. How do you get around that?
Yes. So I think, well, first of all, one of the questions that I would want to ask is, when is the time that you have been your best? And at the time that you've been your best, what was happening? So we'd want the team to imagine a situation when hopefully all of you worked really, really well together and there was a good situation. Because even in a shit culture, hopefully there was one project that everybody worked well or something to that effect. That's probably where I would start and try to tease out maybe one or two situations where there were positive parts. Um, and if we were to, I mean, if we look at the word honesty, there's a brilliant video by Simon Sinek where he says, if you have to put honesty on the wall, you've probably got a bigger problem.
I knew honesty was a really bad example. Yeah.
No, but it is a good example, because some people will use the word honesty, but actually the purpose of values is about instilling behaviors that we want to make our company in the best place possible, not basic expectations. But also, how can you live honesty? What does that, it
Mm,
goes back to the purpose of what does that mean? So it's really about articulating what that means to you. Is it always tell the truth, which is the example that he gives in the video? Um, and again, maybe that's something that needs to be thought in that particular company, but let's say it's integrity. I have a particular client that I worked with who integrity, we did the set of questions, what made them proud, what came up when they're at their best, and integrity, doing the right thing, came up for every single person. And it seemed like it was really prevalent. And it turned out that always act with integrity became one of their core values. But actually, it was the way that we ended up defining it, because in relation to their clients, they are never going to do something in the bad interest of one of their clients. They're always going to be honest with each other, even if they make mistakes. So it was
right.
taking it from that next level.
So that's the first part. It's a deep, inward-looking question and answer session led by you, and we will begin to understand who we are and who we want to be. What's the outcome of that, and what do we do with that next?
Yeah. So for me, that is session one. It's really understanding where we are. After that, I would take away what my insights are and what I've seen and heard that probably people in the room haven't noticed, and start to pick out some words. If you're using this through the values starter kit and you're doing this yourself, you will probably start to identify words that have come up for you. So maybe respect, empathy, proactivity, and start to probably circle them or look at what those words are and feel, do they resonate? Do they not resonate? But, and as great as that is, if we talked about this at the beginning, if we have just the one word empathy, what does that mean?
Mm.
So actually, yes, we can go to the next part, which is choosing a word, but that's just a small stepping stone to the third part, because this is the most important part for me. Now, if let me ask you, Jeremy, what does respect mean to you?
Wow. I think respect means thinking of other people and I'm trying to describe it without actually saying the word respect, but thinking of other people and really understanding what it is they're trying to achieve, how they operate, and try and behave in a way that brings out the best in the other person. I think for me, that's respect.
Thank you. Um, for me, I would define respect as listening to someone's viewpoint.
I like your answer a lot better than mine. Yeah, but
No,
I think we're saying more or less the same thing. Interestingly, aren't we? It's about respect. It's about the other person.
exactly. But we're saying different, we're saying it in our own way, right? So my point is that we might have say we're 21 of us in the room and every single person has a different answer. Just because we've come to the conclusion that respect is really important for all of us, what does that mean? And I've said this
Yeah,
probably a few times today, but the next step is really identifying for each of these values what that means to you as a team, because respect could mean something completely different. And we want everybody to be on the same page as to what respect means for Build Your Edge. So
yeah,
the third part of this is really moving through the words that you've chosen to think about what they are, what do they mean, how do they show up in your day to day, are we living them, but also then identifying why they're important, because then we start to get a bit more of a holistic picture of what this value is and how we see it and what maybe are the behaviors that are starting to show up.
yeah.
Now, one of
And
sorry, go on.
but if I can just go back a stage, if respect for some people might actually be, I want people to respect me. But and that they may think, well, that's one of the values I want. I want you, the company, to respect me and my time and my effort and everything else. Whereas everybody else in the room is thinking, no, we should be respecting other people. How do you uncover that mismatch?
Well, couldn't we have somewhere that's, it's eventually we get to, we respect each other. So we encompass both of them. With the individual, where that first person is talking about, well, I need the company to respect me, they're actually talking about their personal values rather than the organizational values. And when we're creating team values, we're creating values that will help us get to our mission and our vision, because it's how we're going to get there. So really, we probably want to think of it in the space of, we respect each other, whether it's in the workplace, but we listen to each other in meetings so that we can X, Y, and Z.